What's up, everybody? Johnny here, and wanted to talk about goals and why people don't accomplish them. People think they can't accomplish what they want to accomplish in their life, but they're wrong. I say all the time, if you have a human nervous system, it works like all the other human nervous systems. You just have to understand the tools to unlock you working effectively at a higher level. And whenever I have a client who doesn't show up to working on their goals they've committed to, or who is procrastinating on becoming their greatest selves, I help them do one of four things to overcome this, okay? These are all the things you need to overcome any block to you becoming your most successful self. Step number one, when I have clients and they don't and they don't fucking do the challenges that have been assigned to them for them becoming their greatest self and accomplishing their purpose and becoming the man that they need to be, the first step that I go to is emotional block clearing. Okay? So we basically have these conditioned emotional patterns in our bodies that have trained us to stay away from being a certain kind of person who does certain kinds of things. So if you're someone who's, let's say, scared of talking to girls, then when you start talking to girls, you're going to feel your body like clench up and contract and freeze. And the reason why it does this is because you had some sort of experience whenever you were a younger person where you tried to talk to a girl, or you admitted that you talked to a girl to friends or family, and they fucking like shut you down. And they sat there and fucking like shamed you or made you feel embarrassed. And so now inside your body is conditioned this association between you talking with women and emotional pain and contraction that makes you want to hide away and separate yourself from ever doing that again. So if you have a block to taking an action that will help you to become the greatest version of yourself, then there's going to be a contraction in your body, okay? There's going to be a contraction in your body, and you have to identify where that feeling of tension is in your body that's resisting the idea of taking action or actually taking the action that you committed to take. And you have to sit there and consciously visualize it dissolving. I can go way deeper into it than this, like there's a lot of nuance, but basically you have to identify whatever that tension is and sit there and let it dissolve and let it dissolve and let it dissolve. And you do this by visualizing like a feeling of softness washing over the area of tension that you've identified as the place where you're resisting taking the action. Okay? And the more that you sit there and visualize this tension softening associated with your resistance, what you're doing is sitting there and reconditioning your nervous system to associate taking that higher level action that's going to get you the results you want with relaxation and ease and everything being okay. So this is a hugely powerful one. There's, industries around built up around this. Therapy, if they're doing it right, therapy will do this. Energy work, just so many different modalities that help you do this. It's a big part of what I do. So step number 2 is going to be it's like if you didn't do what you committed to do, if you didn't take the action that you committed to take, then it could be an issue where it's just so challenging for you to take that step that the simple response, the simple answer to that is just break that step into smaller steps that you can actually digest, What do they always say? How do you eat an elephant? It's like if you're trying to make yourself become this amazing person, and that's eating the elephant, how do you eat an elephant? My dad always used to say this. And then I'd sit there and like look sheepish and go, one bite at a time. That's right, son, one bite at a time. So you take the action. This one's pretty simple to understand. Take the action of talking to girls if you're afraid of talking to girls, and that's your largest purpose for yourself that you've identified. But you're too afraid to actually walk up to the girl and say anything to her. Well, then you break it down into smaller steps so that you condition yourself through taking action and relaxing your body tensions as you're taking that action. You condition yourself to build up to the point where you can approach and talk to women like that. So an example would be, I can't go up and talk to women, but what I can do is walk towards a woman. And I can walk like half of the distance towards her before my anxiety starts getting really hard, and then I can just sit there and sort of like relax. And again, let that body tension sit there and slowly dissolve using the practices that I talked about before. the softening practices where you're conditioning yourself to where now when you come back the next day or the next time that you show up to going to try to overcome this fear you have of talking with women and getting good at talking with women, next time you will have deconditioned your fear, and so you'll be able to walk up, like, let's say, you know, if you didn't do super well, then 3/4 of the distance to her, or you'll be able to walk all the way up to her, and then right when you walk up to her, you just like walk past her, which might be weird for her, but but it's like a step forward, and you can see the pattern here. And then the next thing you do is like you stop and you ask what time it is, right? It's like something you can't really get rejected for unless that person's having a really fucking bad day. So step 2 is you take the steps, you take the action steps that are going to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish to make you the man you want to be, and you break them down into more bite-sized pieces. You eat the elephant one bite at a time. Step 3, when clients that I'm working with report back to me having not taken the action on accomplishing their goals aligned with their committed purpose, the third step is I'll sit there and I'll ask them to make sure that the task that I helped to assign them was truly aligned with what they're really after. And so what I mean by this is sometimes we commit to goals and taking action on those goals, and the reason that we're having resistance is not because we have like necessarily an emotional block. It's not even because the challenge was too big. It's because like our subconscious understands that what we committed to do was actually not aligned with what our true values are and what we really want to accomplish, either emotionally or externally, like superficially. So for example, I've had clients before where they think they want to be good with women, but what they actually want, they think they want to be good with women, but what they actually want is to feel like a man that they can be proud of in front of a woman or in front of other people. They want to feel valuable. They want to feel that feeling inside of themselves. And in fact, when they get the women, if they do take the action to getting the women, they often realize they feel empty after, and they're like, why do I feel empty after? It's like, well, you weren't after just like having sex with the flesh of a woman in this like mechanical fashion. You had this deeper emotional pull that you just wanted to feel like you were a fucking good man who was doing what he was supposed to. And so in that situation, I've had clients where we found out after they didn't take the action that they didn't do the homework that they were assigned on accomplishing their purpose. I found out later with probing them and seeing what they're really after emotionally and what they really want to be feeling emotionally, that what they committed to had nothing to do or was only tangentially related with what they were trying, with what they really wanted to accomplish deep down. And so sometimes the reason why you're not taking action is because actually that action is not what you're supposed to be taking, because it's not aligned with what you really want. You're just not aware of what you really want because you don't have that deep of a connection within yourself. But be careful with this one, because people use that as an excuse sometimes. They'll be like, oh, well, you know, the reason why I didn't do what I committed to do is because, well, it's because that's just not who I am. You know, it's just, it wasn't for me. I found out after all. And it's like, so you can use that as an excuse to cover up like your fear of what'll happen to you if you get the success results that you say that you're after. So you have to be really careful with that one. And I could break that down into solving that problem as well, how to differentiate, which would really be finding out if you're speaking from a place of fear or if you're speaking from a place of like you're more passionate about the other thing that you want to do instead. If you're speaking from a place of fear or defensiveness when you say, oh, that's not really what I was after, you'll feel that you're speaking from like a feeling of tension in your body. Whereas if you really aren't aligned with something, you'll more feel like a lack of feeling or like a deflated feeling. This is a whole video topic in and of itself. And then the last step to overcoming procrastination and taking the action on becoming the man that you want to be, and I do this with clients all the time too, it's like sometimes you just need to remind yourself why you committed to take that action to get those external results that you said that you want, that are going to help you be the man that you want to be. Because what happens is we basically have a higher self and a lower self, right? Our higher self is the version of us who wants grand things, they want great things, they really want to be valuable to people and fulfilled. And they want to do good work, and they want to be a valuable member of the fucking community. Someone that they can be proud of themselves, okay? And then there's our lower self. That's the version of us that's more like the reptilian brain version of us, which is like the version of us that wants to hide. It wants to exert no energy. This is the version of you that like doesn't want to work out, like doesn't want to work. This is the version of you that's like afraid of public speaking. There's your higher self, which is like the version of you that wants to accomplish so much, your ambitious self, your golden child self, your king self. And then there's your lower self, like your golem self, your desire to hide and stay under the blanket, so you don't have to go to school. And so what will happen is people will sit there and switch back and forth between their higher selves and their lower selves. And in fact, usually what happens is people spend the majority of their life in their lower selves, and then so much pressure will build up from them hiding, and they'll start to feel so bad about themselves, or they'll get like a random blast of energy, and then they'll pop into their higher self and they'll be like, you know what, even though I haven't like talked to women in 3 years, or I've always been bad at that, I think I could start to do that. Or, you know what, I am fat as fuck and I'm out of shape, but I could fucking work and do what I say that I'm gonna do, and fucking work out and get shredded, right? And that's coming from their higher self. And what will happen is later that motivation will start to fade as their nervous system pendulates back into that lower vibrational energy of their lower self. And so so to bring this back to step number 4, you have to remind yourself of your higher self's motivations for why you committed to that goal when you're in the state of being your lower self and you don't want to take that action later, right? When it's time to take the action after you've committed to it when you were in your higher self, now that you're in your lower self later, you're like, oh, well, I did want to work out, but like not now. I have all these excuses. And so this last step is when you're about to procrastinate and resist taking the action that you said that you're going to take to become the man that you need to be, you have to get yourself back into your higher self's state. And the way that I do this is I literally come up with a warm-up routine, a warm-up list where I write all of my motivations on why I committed to taking this particular action to accomplish these goals. And I'll sit there and read it, all the reasons that I listed out that I wrote while I was in my higher self state. And I will sit there and read those and then meditate and sit there and relax my body and visualize like that higher vibrational energy. And I will do that until I get back into my higher self state that is aligned with taking that higher level action, and then I will take that action. Okay, so step number 4 is reminding yourself why you committed to it in the first place, and then doing the energy work and the meditation and the motivation reminders in order to pop you back into your higher self so you can fucking smash that. So those are the 4 steps to overcoming procrastination or resistance to taking action on your highest goals or purpose so that you can become the man that you want to be. Hopefully this is very valuable to you, something I've built over many years, and I was glad to be able to share it. Let me know if you have any other questions, any other thoughts on videos you might like to see. This was actually pretty fun to do, pretty easy for me, and it's something that I help clients with all the time. So if it's also something that you're interested in, is identifying goals that you've been resisting taking action on for whatever reason, and you want to fucking smash past that and really become the man that you want to be, I'm currently looking for clients to fill a couple different client spots right now for a program that I'm doing where I help them to identify their highest purpose, their highest goals that they could commit to become the person they want to be, the man that they want to be, and then learn how to take action on that and clear all their emotional blocks and fucking learn how to accomplish the goals by breaking them down into bite-sized pieces and really going deep on how to train you to master this process so that you become the man who knows what his purpose is and knows how to accomplish it whenever all the roadblocks come in your way that are inevitably going to come on any path to mastery, especially the one that you've chosen, because that's going to be the one that's centered around your heart and who you really want to be. And so you're definitely going to have some fucking blocks to that. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, just fucking reach out or DM me. I'll ask you a couple questions to see if you're in the right place in your life to sign up for something like that and be ready for something like that. Don't be afraid. I'm pretty friendly, but I will challenge you. And yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts or questions down below. Much love and peace out, babies. Johnny Wild.